2. LongNails, Dīghanakha Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 74. I have heard that on one occasion the Blessed One was staying near Rajagaha, on Vulture Peak Mountain, in the Boar's Cave. Then LongNails the Wanderer went to the Blessed One, and, on arrival, exchanged courteous greetings with him. After an exchange of friendly greetings and courtesies, he stood to one side. As he was standing there, he said to the Blessed One, "Master Gotama, this is my doctrine and view, that all is disagreeable to me." "But even this view of yours, Agivasana, all is disagreeable to me? Is even that disagreeable to you?" "Even if this view of mine is agreeable to me, Master Gotama, it makes no difference. It makes no difference." "Well, Agivasana, there are very many in the world who say, 'It makes no difference, it makes no difference.' Yet they both do not abandon that view, and they cling to another view. There are very few in the world who say, 'It makes no difference, it makes no difference,' and they both abandon that view, and do not cling to another view. There are some contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that all is agreeable to me. There are some contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that all is disagreeable to me. There are some contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that certain things are agreeable to me, certain things are disagreeable to me. With regard to those contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that all is agreeable to me, that view of theirs is near to being impassioned, near to bondage, near to delighting, near to holding, near to clinging. With regard to those contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that all is disagreeable to me, that view of theirs is near to not being impassioned, near to non-bondage, near to non-delighting, near to not holding, near to not clinging." When this was said, LongNails the Wanderer said to the Blessed One, "Master Gotama commends my viewpoint. Master Gotama recommends my viewpoint." With regard to those contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that certain things are agreeable to me, certain things are disagreeable to me, whatever is agreeable to them, their view is near to being impassioned, near to bondage, near to delighting, near to holding, near to clinging. Whatever is disagreeable to them, their view is near to not being impassioned, near to non-bondage, near to not delighting, near to not holding, near to not clinging. With regard to those contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that all is agreeable to me, an observant person among them considers that if I were to grasp and insist firmly on this view of mine, that all is agreeable to me, and to state that only this is true, all else is worthless, I would clash with the two, the contemplative or Brahmin who holds the doctrine and the view that all is disagreeable to me, and the contemplative or Brahmin who holds the doctrine and the view that certain things are agreeable to me, certain things are disagreeable to me. I would clash with these two. Where there is a clash, there is dispute. Where there is a dispute, quarreling. Where there is quarreling, annoyance. Where there is annoyance, frustration. Envisioning for himself clash, dispute, quarreling, annoyance, frustration, he both abandons that view and does not cling to another view. Thus, there is the abandoning of these views. Thus, there is the relinquishing of these views. With regard to those contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that all is disagreeable to me, an observant person among them considers that if I were to grasp and insist firmly on this view of mine, that all is disagreeable to me, and to state that only this is true, all else is worthless, I would clash with two, the contemplative or Brahmin who holds the doctrine and the view that all is agreeable to me, and the contemplative or Brahmin who holds the doctrine and the view that certain things are agreeable to me, certain things are disagreeable to me. I would clash with these two. Where there is a clash, there is dispute. Where there is dispute, quarreling. Where there is quarreling, annoyance. Where there is annoyance, frustration. Envisioning for himself, clash, dispute, quarreling, annoyance, frustration, he both abandons that view and does not cling to another view. Thus, there is the abandoning of these views, and there is the relinquishing of these views. With regard to those contemplatives and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and the view that certain things are agreeable to me, certain things are disagreeable to me, an observant person among them considers that if I were to grasp and insist firmly on this view of mine, that certain things are agreeable to me, certain things are disagreeable to me, and to state that only this is true, all else is worthless, I would clash with two, the contemplative or Brahmin who holds the doctrine and the view that all is agreeable to me, and the contemplative or Brahmin who holds the doctrine and the view that all is disagreeable to me. I would clash with these two. Where there is a clash, there is dispute. Where there is dispute, quarreling. Where there is quarreling, annoyance. Where there is annoyance, frustration. Envisioning for himself, clash, dispute, quarreling, annoyance, frustration, he both abandons that view and does not cling to another view. Thus there is the abandoning of these views, and thus there is the relinquishing of these views. Now, Agivasana, this body, endowed with form, composed of the four primary elements, born from mother and father, nourished with rice and porridge, subject to inconstancy, rubbing, pressing, dissolution, and dispersion, should be envisioned as inconstant, stressful, a disease, a cancer, an arrow, painful, an affliction, alien, a disintegration, an emptiness, not self. In one who envisions the body as inconstant, stressful, a disease, a cancer, an arrow, painful, an affliction, alien, a disintegration, an emptiness, not self, any desire for the body, attraction to the body, following after the body, is abandoned. There are these three kinds of feeling: pleasant feeling, painful feeling, and neither pleasant nor painful feeling. On the occasion when one feels a pleasant feeling, one does not feel either a painful feeling or a neither pleasant nor painful feeling. One feels only a pleasant feeling on that occasion. On the occasion when one feels a painful feeling, one does not feel either a pleasant feeling or a neither pleasant nor painful feeling. One feels only a painful feeling on that occasion. On the occasion when one feels a neither pleasant nor painful feeling, one does not feel either a pleasant feeling or a painful feeling. One feels only a neither pleasant nor painful feeling on that occasion. A pleasant feeling is inconstant, fabricated, dependently co-arisen, subject to ending, subject to vanishing, fading, ceasing. A painful feeling is also inconstant, fabricated, dependently co-arisen, subject to ending, subject to vanishing, fading, cessation. A neither pleasant nor painful feeling is also inconstant, fabricated, dependently co-arisen, subject to ending, subject to vanishing, fading, ceasing. Seeing this, an instructed disciple of the noble ones grows disenchanted with pleasant feeling, disenchanted with painful feeling, disenchanted with neither pleasant nor painful feeling. Disenchanted, he grows dispassionate. From dispassion, he is released. With release, there is the knowledge, released. He discerns. Birth is ended, the holy life fulfilled, the task done. There is nothing further for this world. A monk whose mind is thus released does not take sides with anyone, does not dispute with anyone. He speaks the language of the world without attachment to it. Now at that time, Venerable Sariputta was standing behind the Blessed One, fanning him. The thought occurred to him, "Indeed, it seems that the Blessed One speaks to us of the abandoning of each of these qualities through direct knowledge. Indeed, it seems that the well-gone one speaks to us of the relinquishing of each of these qualities through direct knowledge. As Venerable Sariputta was reflecting thus, his mind was released from the fermentations through lack of clinging, while in LongNails the Wanderer there arose the dustless, stainless Dhamma I. Whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. Then LongNails the Wanderer, having seen the Dhamma, having attained the Dhamma, having known the Dhamma, having fathomed the Dhamma, having crossed over and beyond uncertainty, having no more perplexity, having gained fearlessness, having become independent of others with regard to the teacher's message, said to the Blessed One, "Magnificent, Master Gotama, magnificent," just as if he were to place upright what was overturned, to reveal what was hidden, to show the way to one who was lost, or to carry a lamp into the dark so that those with eyes could see forms. In the same way has Master Gotama, through many lines of reasoning, made the Dhamma clear. I go to Master Gotama for refuge, to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha of monks. May Master Gotama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge from this day forward, for life.